So let me do this introduction very well because I know after this I'm going to cut this video and I'm going to post it as a video. So, ladies, let's be real with ourselves, right? Can we be real? Sometimes we think age automatically makes us better communicators in relationship, but truth is many of us are still making the same mistakes we made in our 20s, and these patterns silently kill intimacy between you and your spouse. So welcome to Love and Truth. I am Marion Mwikali, and today I want us to unpack the three biggest communication mistakes women over 40 make, and how do we replace this with healthier habits, of course, so that we bring connection and not conflict. So I will start with the first one, which I think is the biggest mistake that we make. It is talking to be heard and not to connect, right? Psychology tells us that in midlife crisis, especially in midlife, many women feel unseen because probably their bodies have changed. They have so many things that are happening. When you're younger, you're just focusing with life. You're there enjoying life. As a teenager, you don't have so much expectations, so you're just there, you're living, you're enjoying life because everything is interesting, it is new. Now, when you get to your midlife, you're like, things are somehow similar. Then now you start to notice, by then I'm not as successful as I expected to be. The vision that I had is not as it should be. Probably I needed to have 5 or 6 children. I'm in my first or second child. I am having maybe probably so many children, so I'm not able to concentrate with myself, with my self-care. So I feel not really beautiful, and that also causes you to feel like something has changed. When you give birth a few times, the body changes, and of course that affects your self-esteem as a woman. And in midlife, you feel like you're not seen, probably because you don't even invest so much of your time on how you look. You're so focused on the children, the career, the business, the husband, if you have one, and the family. Because I know there are women who are taking care of their siblings, and you rarely lack, and you don't have enough time for yourself. And of course, the conversation turn from you talking and allowing someone else to respond to just being lectures. So now you want to lecture people, you want to dictate what people should feel, how they should hear. And it can be a challenge, because if I'm having a conversation with you and all I am doing is lecturing. Today I decided to do a communication video, but I decided to go live because I wanted us to communicate so that I can have you guys respond for good understanding, so that we be there where communication is not just what I am saying, it is about you giving feedback and allowing me to also see that, by the way, the things I am saying might make sense to me because I did the research, I wrote down, but you might have a different approach. You might be a woman over 40 and you're like, okay, whatever Marion you're saying is not really true, because this is what we are going through. Considering I haven't gotten to my 40s, I am on my way to my 40s, I am in my early 30s. So when I am speaking on behalf of women over 40, I might have the things that I am speaking about from my head and from my research, and not necessarily what is on the ground, right? However, because I did the research, I'm still comparing it with who I am in my 30s because it is very applicable to me. That is why I stand strong with what I am talking about, because it is also some things that I'm already now experiencing even before I get to my 40s, and I am having this conversation with you today. So how do we fix this? How do we fix talking to be heard and not to connect? The first thing is, instead of just blabbing and just saying things from your nini, talk about, I feel like when I am talking to you and you're on your phone, I don't like it, it makes me feel this way. Instead of you just making accusations of, you always do this, every time I'm having a conversation with you, you're on your phone, you don't like listening to me. You see, when you're communicating, it's about, I am frustrated, I don't like what you're doing. So instead of showing you the frustration, let me explain it to you so that you also understand where I'm coming from. So that when you are doing it, it makes more sense. I will tell you, I feel like every time we are having a conversation and you are on your phone, I feel like you don't listen. So yes, I'm frustrated. Instead of coming here and telling you, you know what? Every time I'm talking to you, you always do this. You don't listen to me. You are the reason why we don't communicate. You're the reason why I'm upset and all that. Because what you're getting is the response that this person will give you will be so hurtful, because again, they will be on defense mode, right? It is fight or flight. So they decide, you know what, you are not making sense right now. I'm gonna bash you badly. And you find that you have hurt that person, and that person responds with the same hurt. So the thing that was meant to be a communication now turns to an argument. Are we together? Yeah. So instead of showing the disappointment, showing the aggression, why don't you tell that person? I don't like it. The minute you make it even so soft spoken, it also puts you on a very good ground to have a conversation about whatever it is that you're communicating about, so that this person will understand that I am hurting this person because I don't listen, and I should give her a listening ear, because I need her to know that I actually am listening and I hear what she's saying, and everything of that sort. You can read, if you are a Christian, James 1:19. It talks about be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger. That one is a very good foundation for us that are Christians, because you're coming into an argument or into a confrontation, but you're very quick to listen, to hear, because at the end of the day, the person that you are talking to is responding to something. Maybe they are behaving that way because probably you talked in a tone that wasn't very friendly, or probably the way you addressed them, they don't like it. You made them feel lesser of a being, or you demeaned them while you were having that conversation, and they responded in the same harshness. So instead of you coming with your anger, you listen and you're like, okay, let me be slow to also speak and try and listen to what this person is saying. I noticed in my few years of marriage that a lot of the issues that we have with my husband comes also from communicating. It is, you didn't tell me, something has gone wrong, and then we start the blame game. You didn't tell me, you should have told me. You didn't tell me. And once I am told I was not told, and I become very defensive. I'm like, you should have observed, these are things that I shouldn't have told you. You should have seen, or probably you mentioned it just as a by the way, but you didn't communicate really concerning it, or you were expecting this person to just be in the know. And I'm coming to that one, and that becomes a very big challenge, of course, for us in our marriages. But I am working on learning to this point of, it is not about just speaking. It is not a matter of coming to you and just being on your face and be like, you know what, this and this and this is the issue, fix it. Yeah. It's, we have a challenge. So how can we work it? The two of us, how can we come together and unite and make it work? So again, that really makes it easy. So you're very quick to listen, you're slow to speak, because at the same time, if you sit down to listen, you won't be so quick to give feedback. You're listening to hear and to understand what this person is saying. So it's a matter of, okay, so you have said that, but have you thought that this is actually the issue instead of this? You're not so quick to just give answers to be, yeah? It's like, give me, I give you, It's listen, understand what this person is saying, be where they are, and just listen to them at their level and understand them, then respond accordingly, so that you're not so quick to answer or talk for the sake of talking or winning the argument, right? And you're very slow to anger. If there's something that I have learned in my marriage, is that I'm very quick tempered. I didn't know. I thought I was actually very chilled. But the thing is, a lot of people don't bother me because they are not important to me per se. And when I'm talking about important, I mean in the aspect of where I have placed them in my life. Because as my friend, you are important, but you're not as important as the person I am sleeping with, who is my husband. So I tend to feel pain or be hurt by him telling me I am not doing a good job, as opposed to a friend of mine telling me I'm not doing a good job. Because when my friend tells me I'm not doing a good job, I'll be like, oh, okay. So what can I work on? Like, what can I improve? Or sometimes I even ignore them. I'm like, okay, you don't feed me, you don't clothe me. Why am I listening to you? You know, and I can brush you off, right? But for when my husband now comes in and speaks the same words, they're weighty because there's an importance that comes with who he is in my life. There's an importance that I have given also my parents. When they speak some words, they hurt more than when an auntie speaks them. So at the end of the day, it is also about who says them. So because I was so used to having people that was speaking to my life, but I had not given them a lot of importance, it wasn't as painful, right? It wasn't as or so quick to respond or to defend myself when they were speaking. Now, come and find my husband who will tell me something and I get immediately offended. Immediately, I'm upset because I'm like, why would you even tell me something like that? You know, you are the person who is supposed to encourage me the most, even when I am failing, by the way, even when I'm not doing a good job. Before you correct me, please start by appreciating the fact that I am trying, or the fact that, by the way, we have this challenge, and as much as I am the issue, start by appreciating the fact that, by the way, I'm still your wife, and it comes with so much change. And I know that a lot of us women, we don't see it. It is so easy for your boss to correct you and be like, I don't like this, and you can take a lot of uh abuse and a lot of verbal abuse from a boss, because at the end of the day you're like, he will pay me, and you keep quiet. So you go home and there's your husband, and he's just there saying things, and you're like, wait, don't begin, don't start this war, And sometimes I think we also release that aggression that we have carried from the workplace to our homes, and it can be very hard even to converse. And that is why we're talking about be quick to listen, okay? And slow to speak and slow to get angry. So, me, because I learned that I get very upset quickly when I am having a conversation with my husband, especially when he's trying to correct me. What I am learning to do, because I haven't perfected it, is listen and keep quiet. Sometimes he thinks that I am ignoring him, but I am learning to keep quiet. I am learning to sit down and be like, ask myself questions, and be like, okay, so this person has said this, and he's coming from a place where he has observed me, because also he has very close proximity to who I am. He sees when I don't have makeup, when I am messy, when I am broken, he sees. So when he's talking to me, he's not talking to me from a place where someone who does not know me is talking from. Because a lot of people who don't live in the confines of our home don't know that I sleep probably too late and wake up also super late. I don't wake up early because I slept late. So when he's talking about you need to wake up a bit earlier, what is he saying? Because he knows that I slept late. So when he's speaking now, I'm sitting down and I'm like, okay, let me listen to his line of thought and not be so defensive anymore, and not be so quick to get angry. Does that mean that whatever he says does not hurt me? I will lie to you, because it still hurts, right? Because as I've said, there's a level of importance and nini I have given him, that I feel bad, by the way, when I am not when I am corrected, right? So it feels bad when I feel like he's noticing the weaknesses that I have instead of seeing positives, right? And that also can make you very quick tempered, right? But I am learning to keep quiet. And women, we need to learn, right? At times, it's not always about winning the argument, it's not about winning the war. It's about just keep quiet and listen and hear what this person is saying, because they are the closest people to you. They have things that they have observed about you that even you're not very keen to see. There are things I have observed about him, and he might be doing them just for the sake of doing them, but when I correct, I know I have looked at you, I have seen 1 2 3 4 4 5 things and I don't like them. And if you work on probably those things, you will become a better person, not just for me, but even for yourself and for your business and for the people that who are getting help from you. So listen so that you can get help and learn from that particular person. That is very important to you, because you might not be married, but you have probably parents that you have put in very high regard. And when they correct you, sometimes they do it with love, and also sometimes they do it very badly, because they feel like they are the parents, so they might not use very courteous words. But you need to be in a place where you're very slow to anger and very slow to respond, and you just listen and hear what this person is saying. Listen to their line of thought, because communication is even when I am upset, when I don't feel like listening to you, when it hurts me while you are speaking, I am still there, telling myself, let me shut up and listen, because if I talk, I will mess things up. And I was seated around. There's a particular time we had an argument with my husband in the morning, and he left for work. And I was seated around, and I asked myself, when I was living in my mother's house, there were times my dad would get very brutal with me and say words, very hurtful words, and say very hurtful things. But I would keep quiet, not because I didn't have anything to say, but because I respected the man. And secondly, I knew I was in his house. I needed to respect the fact that it is his space. So I need to shut up, because if I don't have an option, I'll sleep outside. So, if I had such kind of respect for the fact that I was in his house, I also need to remember that even right now, I am in my husband's house. It is our house, but it is his house. So I need to respect him, respect his authority, and sometimes just keep quiet and not be so quick to win arguments. Just listen. Marion, listen to what the man is saying, and of course, learn something at the end of the day. So if you're also like me, you're in that place where you feel like, yeah, this person is offending me, and we have a lot of conflicts, because every time we have a conversation, you are so quick to be heard. You talk to be heard and not for you guys to connect. Then you shall always have challenges. But one of you needs to come lower and just be in a place of submission and just hear what the other one is saying, so that you guys can have a conversation and deal with the challenges that you have. The second mistake that we have is assuming he always knows. And I'm talking about he because I'm assuming that a lot of people that also are listening and are coming to this platform, because it is love and truth, it is people who are in a relationship. So I'm sorry if you notice that a lot of my examples are in the relationship sector. It is because this is a love and truth channel where we dissect love in truth, right? And you might also be in a relationship, but you also are in a category where you're relating with someone. So it is assuming that he should always just know. So silent expectations brings frustration. How many of you know that? Every time you expect someone to do something, and it is a silent expectation, that by the way, I want my boyfriend or my husband or my fiance to bring me flowers today, and you haven't expressed that, the fact that you haven't communicated. And when he comes in, he's so excited, happy to see you, and he's wondering, why today are you so frustrated? You're not happy to see him, you are just behaving funny, and he's wondering what is wrong with this one. But it is because you're frustrated because of your silent expectations. You did not say what you wanted, and because you did not communicate it clearly and respectfully, you won't receive what you want to be given. I will give an example here, and this is one of those things that I had a challenge with in my relationships before I got into marriage. When I was dating, I had expectations, silent ones. I expect you to probably get me gifts, or once in a while just take me out on dates, and just be courteous, and do romantic things, because I was a fan of romantic movies. Unfortunately, the people that I was dating, they were godly, they were amazing, they were amazing people. I have never dated a bad person. I thank God, because I was just in a place where I got very good people. So I can't say that I had anybody who was bad, right? And the main reason we did not end up in marriage or in a relationship is because the person was good, but they were not good for me. So that one I need to clarify here. These people are good. And I'm sure that people that will marry them will have an awesome time, because the men that I have related with are amazing people. If you get the time to know the person that you're with, you will see beyond the flaws. They had their flaws, so did I. They had their weaknesses, and so do I. So I tend to believe that it is a matter of how you look at a person and what you see or how you see them that actually depends and defines the relationship that you will have. Now, because I had amazing people, I wasn't very good at receiving gifts. And even in my communicating, there are times we are having conversations. I remember there was this particular specific guy that I was dating, and at that particular time I told the person, what did I say? I told him I actually do not like people texting me a lot. It makes me feel like I am being how do I put it? It's like you don't have anything important to do. And when I was communicating that, it's because I was frustrated with work. I remember I was working for an entertainment company, a production house, and we were at that particular time shooting back to back. We would wake up very early at 4 in the morning, so prepare because we need to begin the set by 6. We are starting to roll. It was action time, right? And at that particular time, I was not just there running the production, because at the time I was an admin. I also had a role in the crew. So I'm the administrator, so I had to make sure that everything was running smoothly during set. And of course it was a new job. It was a new job for me, so it was difficult and I was finding it so stressful. And then I was failing, by the way. Let me also add that part, because where I wasn't doing very well. And then I have the crew beat where I am doing costume, I'm doing and I'm also assisting in direct. I was the second AD, and I also helping with continuity. So I was so frustrated. I'm there thinking, guy, who has the time to text a man right now? Even if we are relating, my God, I don't have time. When I have a short break like this, mine was telling me sleep. So I want to sleep and rest. So you can imagine that is the place I am in. I love having conversations and they help me calm down. But I didn't know that at that particular time I was speaking from frustration. So this was the beginning of our relationship. So when we got to like 6 months thereabout, I started complaining because at that particular time I had left the production, so I wasn't as busy as I was when I was working, and I am now idle, and I'm wondering, why is this man not texting me? My silent expectations, of course, because in one of our conversation I had told him that me, I don't like people stressing me during the day. You can talk to me later in the evening, because at that time I have a few minutes before I also black out and sleep. So now, whatever was keeping me busy is out of the way. Are we together? So now I am very idle. I am there seated doing nothing. And this man is not texting. This man is not calling. And at the same time, we have a long distance relationship. So he's in Tanzania, I'm in Nairobi, Kenya. So I'm wondering, Kwani, and it's not like we're in different time zones. The time zones are the same. Now we cannot have calls because he's using Vodafone, I'm using Safaricom, and that is very expensive. And as much as we were dating, I wasn't expecting him to also spend too much, because he's in the place where he's building his career, and he wasn't that stable, right? Because he had now moved from Kenya and he was transitioning and was building a production house on the other side. And of course the startup of the business was a bit challenging, and it required him to be so present as well. So initially, because we were both busy, it was okay, because we were both tired. So when we got time to speak, it was through WhatsApp, and it was in the evening, and it was working. So now here is Marion, who is now idle, doing nothing, just there. And I'm wondering, why is this man not texting, calling? And I started texting him, and I'm like, why don't you have time for me? He's like, I'm busy. And then I'm there thinking, you're busy with what? Because when initially you are wooing me, you had time to text back. So what is happening? And of course it was a challenge for our relationship, and it got to a place where I felt like there's nothing that can work between us, because I had my assumptions that he should just know that right now I have the time. I had the silent expectations of expecting him to once in a while surprise me. There are times he would come to Kenya, not for what, not just to travel to for personal reasons, but for business. So he's in Kenya and I'm there thinking, now that you are in Kenya, you have your Safaricom line. Why don't you call? When you're in Tanzania, I can understand because you are using Vodafone. So now you're in Kenya. Yes, you might not have time for me, like for us to meet, but can you just call and be like, hi, babe, I'm around, yada, yada, the things that make us women feel nice. And because he's not doing that, I'm there thinking, this guy does not love me. I promise you, the guy wasn't bad, but ilifika mahali, I was like, I'm frustrated. A year down the line, I'm like, this relationship is going nowhere because Marion is I love conversations. I had stated that I don't want to be talking all the time, but now I have the time, so we need to talk. But the problem is, I was free, he wasn't. So we needed to have that conversation. And because we did not have that conversation, I got so frustrated to a point that it broke the relationship. And I just texted him. I was like, you know what? I don't feel like you're in the same space as me. And because we don't have time to also communicate, we are in different time zones. Uh, there's a lot that we really need to unpack. I feel like I am being neglected, yada, yada, yada. And I told him, if you want us to work, probably we might have a conversation. But personally, just looking at the way the relationship is going and where I am at this particular time, I don't think there's anywhere we are going. And I ended the relationship. And my beloved at the time just replied with an okay. That thing has pained me until I got married. I remember I even told my husband, hey, that guy hurt my ego. I expected him now because I've sent him a letter of resignation to resign from the relationship, that he would try to massage my ego and just tell me, no, don't leave me, those things, like, just try. But he didn't. He was like, okay. And right now I understand, but anyway, it's okay. So how do we fix the assumptions of that he should just know? Is clearly and respectfully make request, right? Be like, could you do this, right? Instead of just silent resentment where you are just there hating the person because they are not doing what they need to do. I remember there's a time we were having a conversation with my now husband and I'm like, hey babe, you know what, I'm not an angel. If you don't tell me, I won't know you're frustrated. I won't know that things I did to you in the morning offended you while you're going to work. So you need to clearly tell me, by the way, this one is an error and I shouldn't do it and I shouldn't repeat. And then now see from there, am I improving? Is this something that I'm working on? Because if you don't see change, then that means again, I might have an issue. But communicate, because if you don't tell me that this thing is frustrating you, it's offending you, I will tend to repeat, and the more I repeat it, the more you're offended, and the more you're offended, the more you hate me, you resent me, and that thing that was beautiful, that was lovely, now becomes an enemy. Because when you look at them, you're like, what is wrong with this person? They hey, yeah. So the other mistake we have, right, is weaponizing silence. What? Me, I'm very good at this one. And I'm not 40, but I am very good at weaponizing silence. And I feel that a lot of women are so good at it, even at whatever age. Yani silence, we use silence as punishment to create emotional distance between you and that particular person who, by the way, has offended you. You can do this with your friends, you can do it with your family, you can do it with now your partner who you are in a relationship with, and you use it as punishment. The thing is, a lot of men actually punishment and now they use it against you. They're like, okay, you're emotionally distant, so I need to find someone who is emotionally close. And now they now start pulling away from you. Your silence causes them to pull away, especially for people who are in just a relationship that is not cemented. Like now, for some of us that are in marriages, it is easier because at the end of the day, this person will come home. Something will happen that will cause you at the end of the day to talk. As much as you're using silence as a weapon, something happens. Your parents probably call and are you okay or something, or you're invited somewhere where you need to go together, so you need to talk. When he doesn't find his shoes, he will ask you. So as much as you are silent, you will still have to talk, and at the end of the day you find that you have hushed the silence, and at the end of the day you talk. But for people who are in a relationship that is not cemented, you don't see each other as often, what you're doing is you are driving that person away, and they will just be there thinking, okay, what is wrong with this woman? They're not talking to me. I tried to text and they're not responding. I know I hurt them, and they might actually have said sorry, but because you are feeling like the silence is punishment for them, I will punish them, I will not talk to them. They have to know who I am. I should be important to them, and you are there. You are justified, by the way. Probably whatever was done to you was something that was to offend you, and it was bad, right? And the person apologized. In the process of trying to make amends, they said sorry, but you didn't see it, you didn't receive it, and you stay there. And you know what you're doing is you're ruining your relationships. You are causing distance between you and that loved one. And then they will go out there. They're going for parties, they're going for meetings, they're going, if they are going for keshes and everything else, and they find another sweet person who is very welcoming, who is very understanding. And at that particular time, you know what, my girlfriend is not listening to me, they're not responding, so let's be talking. And that is how you draw apart, apart, apart. By the time you are removing your silence there as punishment, this guy has already started seeing someone else. They are now comfortable with that other person, and they're having conversations. And if you're not careful, that is how the relationship will end, because this person now will start to invest where they are respected, and where, by the way, they are welcomed. And that is a mistake for us, because you see, it causes us to lose. Now, how do we fix this? It is take space for to calm down. Of course, everything that is done to you is hurtful. You are a human being, you have your feelings, you have your emotions, and it can be hurtful. So you need some time. If you need to calm down, just calm down and communicate and be like, okay, I need time to process whatever it is that has been done to me, okay? Whatever it is that that person has done, but I'll come back. So just give me a few minutes or a few hours or a few days. Let me just think about it, because it depends with the gravity or the magnitude of the hurt or the thing, right? That has been done to you. So, how much time do you need? Please be very clear and speak, right? And openly and respectfully. Be I am offended, I am upset. Whatever you did to me is hurtful, and I need a day to process. Whatever you did to me is hurtful and offensive, and I feel whatever I feel. So I need 3 days to think about it, and to probably heal or to calm down. Because if now we have these conversations, either now or in a few days, before the days that I feel are good enough for me to marinate and just to think about it, I will speak and I will say something probably I don't mean. And instead of working or building on the relationship, I will destroy it. You see, you have communicated. This person understands, by the way, I hurt you. So even when they're apologizing, they know, if I hurt this girl for whatever it is I did, and they needed so much time to heal, it means that this girl is very connected to her emotions, and I don't need to hurt her. So what this person, if they are good for you and they love you, is they will work on avoiding to hurt you in such magnitudes, because they know, Uyu, every time I hurt her, she disappears for hours, for days. So I don't want that to happen. And I need to also be in a space where I understand you. I'm like, okay, I'm giving you time. So it is easier, because especially when you are the one who has committed the offense, you want to be the first one to reach out. So if you give me a time frame and be like, I will recover in 2 days, then in 2 days I will be personally the first one to text, to call, and be like, hi, are you okay now? Because you had said you needed time and you needed 2 days. So after 2 days, the offender will be coming there and be like, I'm so sorry, babe, I hurt your feelings. And that also works, because you have gotten the time that you needed to recover and to be okay. And now the person is back, and then now you can communicate concerning whatever the issue was, instead of weaponizing the silence. The silence is also very important for some of us that want to take our time and be like, I need to digest whatever you said or whatever you did, because this thing has hurt me. This thing has offended me. And I need to sit with myself and probably think, why did you do this? Because some of us want to understand what is the underlying issue, what is the reason why you would do something that would be so hurtful, yet you know that this thing hurt me. And a lot of us, when we are hurt because probably it is something we communicated about. I remember in a relationship that I was working with people, and they came to me, and the lady said, I categorically told him when we were dating, I hate abuse. I have been and I have seen abuse and I don't like it. So when I got into a relationship with him, those are the things that I told him I wouldn't compromise on. I do not like abuse. So when I am abused verbally, I am beaten, I am given slaps, and sometimes someone gives me threats of I will kill you one day, that is a red flag for me. Because you see, I told him I don't like it. I don't want to be in that place where I experience it. Do I probably offend him to the point where he feels disrespected and would want to discipline me? Probably. But I still do not like it. So it is, as I work on whatever I am doing that offends you to that magnitude to hurt me, I should expect him to also work on his temper, so that it's not about, I'm sorry, I'm sorry I slapped you. It's because you offended me. No, it is, you have offended me. I am going to walk out and walk until I feel I have calmed down and I come back home, because I also need to work on myself and work on myself so that I am not quickly tempered and quickly to just slap the hell out of someone, right? And while I was working with them, I noticed that if there's something that they both struggled with, was some of the things that we are talking about. They were very good friends, but they were not very good conversationalists. They were having a conversation, but it was more of the lectures. And it was also coming from the man who was now lecturing what he wants to be done. I need to say here before even we continue, as an old person, as a mature person, you have started dating knowing this person has had socialization and there's a way they have been brought up. And sometimes it is okay when you communicate that you do not like something done that way. But just because you have communicated does not mean that tomorrow I begin to immediately operate the way you want. Because I have my own conditioning. It might take a while, and that's why marriages, when they are beginning, the first years of marriage are very difficult, because people are trying to understand one another. Okay, you have said you don't like this, but this is what us we used to do, right, in our homes, and this is something that I have watched, and it has been working. And for some of us, as much as probably we did not agree with it, because of living in that particular house, we have now socialized ourselves to a point that we have actually started behaving that way, myself included. So now that you tell me you don't want me to behave in that particular manner, or there's something now you want me to start doing, I won't start doing immediately. I will do 2 days and then I forget and I'm back to my reset. Remind me, don't be upset and be like, you're very disrespectful, you don't hear what I said, you don't want to change. No, it is because there's a conditioning I have had for years, and it is something that will take me a couple of times before I am ready to like be, oh, okay, wait, that is something that we need to work on. Oh, I'm so sorry. I can try and improve. Are we together? Are we in the same place? Yeah. So communication is something that we really, right, need to work on. Because once we fail at that, a lot of things really do not work. Because even if you love one another, that love cannot be cemented if you guys don't understand one another. Communication is key and it is very important. So you need to be in that place where you are very intentional with what you're saying. You are very how do I say, flexible as well, and very easily to just learn the other person and give them room to grow and to probably perfect themselves, or to groom themselves, or to just mold themselves to an image that you prefer or that you like. Sindio, it is not an instant miracle. I cannot change by tomorrow, so I need time to do that. So one thing you can do, or a few things you can do just to make communication applicable to you. The first thing is journal one recurring miscommunication that you have, right, in your life. What are some of the things that you feel like, this one has always been a challenge for us? I feel like when I communicate, these people don't understand what I'm saying. I am saying something, but it is not well understood. So the problem might not be the person who is receiving it, it might be me who is communicating it. So if that is a misunderstanding, is a miscommunication, so how do I deal with it? Because once you journal it, it is easier for you now to work on it and be like, okay, because this person does not understand what I say, probably it is the way I'm saying it. Let me work on how I say it. And you start working on that one and improve on it to a point that now you can communicate and someone will understand you. And the way you understand that someone, or you know that someone has understood you, is also by the way they respond, right? It is how they will respond to whatever it is that you're communicating that you will know that this person has actually understood what I am saying, right? It is not just talking, it is response, and the response needs to be accurate. And then you work on that miscommunication, sorry, and then you write another one and work on that. And that really helps even in communicating and just making sure that there is proper communication in all your spheres, right? Not just in marriage, not just in relationships, but also in your workplace, so that people can really get what you're saying. The other thing is, after you have written one after the other, and just continue working on them as you go. The other thing is refrain using I feel language. You need to start to talk about what you feel instead of acting it, because I feel like if a lot of us are in that place where we are so hurt, and you want to express the hurt, then you will end up hurting the other person and bleeding on other people who don't necessarily need to be bled on. And you will lose friends, you will be more frustrated, and you might even fall into depression. So it is very important when you use the I feel language, because then people will get, oh, so that is why you are mad, that is why you're not smiling. Oh, I understand, because you're talking about what you're feeling, and this person will respond in empathy, because empathy is something that we all have. Majority of people actually are empathetic, and they will really understand where you're coming from, even when you speak from that place. So when you start using I feel language, it helps, and it makes things easier even for you guys to understand one another. The other thing is, test it with your partner this week. That particular thing that we have talked about, that you feel like this has been a challenge for us in when it comes to communication, and you want to work on it, test on the person that is closest to you. But even while you're testing it, don't tell them it is a test, because they will respond as a test. So it is you who knows that it is a test in terms of communication. If you want to know the things that probably are an issue for you, sit down and test. And by testing is also analyzing your relationship. What doesn't work when it comes to communication in this particular relationship? Okay, so our challenge is this: probably there's delayed communication, there's delayed feedback, and some of those things. And then after you test on them, then now work on it. Ask yourself, what can I do to actually make the communication work? What is that thing that I need to work on? Because relationships are different and they're dynamic. So depending on where you are in your relationship, that also determines how you will respond. So test it on your relationship, then work on it, right? So before we conclude, hi, there's someone who has joined us. I see we are two, and I am the first one of the of those viewing. Do you have a question concerning communication before we conclude? I would love to answer. I would love to hear your feedback. As I have said, we are talking about communication, and I want to get as much feedback as I can concerning communication, so that we can communicate and converse. Do you have a question? Okay. While you're thinking of your question, let me just encourage you. You are never too old to unlearn bad behavior, bad habits, and create new love languages, right? Growth in communication is growth in love, because the minute you begin to communicate, you the two of you, the love between you and the bond between you increases. Do you have a question, guys? Do you have a question before we conclude? Because I'm about to finish. And I'm so excited that you joined. Aki, thank you so much for joining. I know that you have gotten probably now where we are coming to the end, but the good thing about technology is you can always go back. So if you feel like we have an interesting topic that you would like to join, because we are actually live. It is live, 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 live. As I'm speaking, you're hearing. Yeah. So you can actually go back and listen and then start from the beginning. So we have discussed, let me just summarize even as we finished so that we know that by the way we are together. So the first thing is we have talked about the three mistakes that a lot of us are making in communication. So the first one was talking to be heard and not to connect. The other one is assuming he should know. He should just know. He should know. These are self, and a lot of us are there because we tend to feel, oh, I am too mature. So if these are things that I expect him to know because he's old and mature. We have been together for 10, 15 years. So I expect him to know by now. But because he doesn't know, yeah, communicate. The other thing is weaponizing silence, where we just decide, whether you know what, I'm shutting up. I am not going to talk. This thing has offended me to a point that I don't want to talk and I keep quiet. So those are the three weapons we have talked about that a lot of women, especially above 40, use as in mistakes that they have in their communication. If you have another one, you can also tell us right now so that we can learn with you and we can know. And we have talked about how we can actually fix some of those mistakes even as we continue. So you can always go back and listen so that you can know how we have talked about how we can work on those particular challenges. So I just want to say thank you. We have said that you're never too old to unlearn bad habits and create new love languages. And love languages can be communicated, because once you communicate, you know, okay, this person loves this, I will start doing that. And then you create those new love languages. Growth in communication is growth in love. And I am so excited that you guys had the opportunity and the time to join us even as we have this session. So thank you so much. And I have a question to ask you. Have you made mistakes before in terms of communication, either of the three or another one that is a communication mistake? Comment below and tell us how you dealt with it, by the way, so that we can learn, so that we can also improve ourselves. You know, the good thing about communicating and just having platforms like this is we get to learn from each other. So you can tell us some of the mistakes that you made and how did you deal with them, because we are all human. We are walking this journey. Whatever I did as a mistake yesterday might be a mistake that someone else will do 5 years from now in their own relationship, because we also have different age gaps. Whatever someone who is in their 50s did on their 30s, now I am on my 30s, I might tend to do what they did in their 50s. But if they tell me what they did and they give me the solution when I'm in my 30s now, I won't make the same mistakes. And that's why me, I love being online. I love us having conversation and finding solution to some of the things that we did and probably that can help us. So if I am a big sister to someone who's 17 and be like, you know what, when I was 17, yeah, I struggled with this. But you know what? Now that I'm 30, I'm like, that one is not even something that should be bothering you. And I have that impact on that person who is 17 now, and I make their lives easier. That is amazing. And that is what we stand for, even here. So, Love and Truth is an opportunity where we grow together. And I'm so excited that you're here. Thank you so much. If you love our content, just to finalize, subscribe to our channel and make sure that you watch out for Love and Truth. We shall be posting 2 videos every week, and I feel like even in my 2 postings, one I shall be going live and then post one video so that I get to know my audience, so that we get to communicate. Today was the first trial that I had of just coming live, and I am so excited. Thank you so much for the 2 of you that have just joined. God bless you. And as I am finishing, I just want to say thank you. Be on the lookout. We shall be doing 2 videos every week, and one of them shall be a video, and then we shall be going one and just being live like we are today, so that we can learn together. And I think the Thursdays one will be the live one, because most Sundays I'm usually held up. So we can just do live on Thursdays. We communicate, we talk, we have a conversation so that you guys can get to know who Marion Mwikali is, even as we are having discussions on what we are struggling in our marriages and in our love life and in our relationships. So thank you so much for being with me. It has been a long minute. How many minutes has it been? Oh, I can't see because I'm live, but I am so excited. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, it has been 58 minutes and 32 and 32 no 58 minutes. Oh, we are almost heading to 1 hour. So I know we have spent so much time, and I'm so excited that we guys did this. And I am so happy that I was talking to a live audience. Thank you so much, Joel Kennedy, for joining today and even commenting. I am so excited and I'm happy that you took your time and just posted a hi. God bless you. If you also want to say hi, once we go offline after I finish the live video, we might not actually see you on live so that I can respond. But kindly share your questions. Let me know what you would like us probably to talk about matters relationship, because that is what Marion Mwikali is now majorly focusing on. And I'm sure that it will be an awesome time of us having conversations. So I just want to say thank you and also see you on Thursday at 3 so we can have another conversation together, because that is the time I shall be going live. And Sundays we shall be having now when we shall be posting the videos. God bless you. God keep you and see you on the next one. Bye bye.